Welcome back, everybody. Skywalking with Wetz podcast, take 3 on this one. The first video I made about 2 days ago, I absolutely hated it. And so I made another one, and it turns out that my microphone was not working. So if you're here tuned into the third take of my NBA Finals breakdown, I appreciate it. But before we go any further into this video, I want to make sure if you are this far in the vid, please hit the like button, follow the channel if you're on Facebook, hit the like, and crush that subscribe button if you're on YouTube. I appreciate all the love. And again, YouTube be showing me the analytics. I'm not the biggest analytics guy. I don't think analytics determine everything. But some analytics speak the truth. And there's cats watching the show. I don't know if you'd call it a show, the video, and they ain't liking the vid. They are not liking the video. So I'm just gonna lay this here right now. I'm gonna take that as disrespect. I'm gonna be transparent with you right now. And I hope somewhere along the lines we can get that figured out. So we have my breakdown-ish, or really just my thoughts on the NBA Finals. And the Eastern Conference Finals and the Western Conference Finals, they did not necessarily go as planned for the kid. And you know what? Through the whole NBA playoffs, you know, my predictions, I'm probably 30%, maybe, if you combined all my picks and see looked at which ones I got right, which ones I got wrong. I'm about 30%. But yet at the same time, teams got hurt, all these other things are, but this stuff's hard. Trust me. Look at my DraftKings account. It's my DraftKings account, just a bunch of L's. I'm not good at picking who's winning and things like that. I'm just going to give you my take. I'm going to give you my thoughts, especially with this series. So we got the Oklahoma City Thunder, who just beat the Timberwolves, who I picked. I picked the Timberwolves. I thought Ant was going to get a ring. It's not happening, okay? The Thunder just made work of the Minnesota Timberwolves. They showed that there are levels between them and the rest of the league. You know, and I doubted the Thunder. I really did doubt the Thunder. And it was more of a, I have to see it to believe it. What up, Zach? Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to keep this right here. I'm going to keep it right there. Anyways. I was a see it to believe it guy. We've seen teams all the times. I'm a Suns fan. I remember the Nash days. The Suns always, not always, but there's a couple seasons, best team in the league by record in the regular season. That doesn't equate to an NBA championship. All right? And so, based off of what I saw last year from the Thunder to this year to the Thunder, that's not what I'm getting at. What I saw from last year from the Thunder, best team in the NBA again, I believe. You can fact check me on that. Let me know in the comments unless you're scared. All right. They got bounced by the Mavs, who were the lower seed, obviously, and made it to the finals. Fast forward to this year, Thunder #1 seed, same position, but Shea gets his MVP, which is great. Shea got his MVP. But it's like, I got to see it to believe it. They had a tough road to the finals. The Thunder had a tough road to the finals. They had a 7-game series with the coachless, I guess we could say, Denver Nuggets. And now we're here. And I think the Thunder are showing that, hey, we are the real deal. Shea's like, obviously, I'm the real deal. I'm the MVP. But now we got them matched up against the Indiana Pacers. And, you know, I don't think I picked the Pacers in any of my picks in these playoffs either. I don't think I picked the Pacers at all. In the last video, I picked the Knicks, but I did say that I wanted the Pacers to win, but my gut was like, you know what? Maybe the Knicks are going to win just because they have the star power, is what people want to say. You know, Jalen Brunson, Cat, Mikal, all those guys, they're in New York, flashy lights. You got Indiana in the flats and the cornfields or whatever they got going on out there. Apologize for my voice. I was yelling. I was yelling at practice. Good yelling. I don't scream at kids. Okay? I just be yelling and coaching, so my voice is a little shot. But we got the Indiana Pacers, who just took down the New York Knicks. And, you know, again, I think they're a team that's proved a lot of people wrong. They had those first 2 series against the Bucks and then against the Cavs. Bucks were beat up. Dame Lillard didn't play game one. Then he tears his Achilles like once he gets into the series. Absolutely hated it. And then they play the Cavs, who, they weren't healthy either. I don't think Garland and some of those cats, Mobley, those guys, I don't think they played game one in a couple of those games. And then Donovan Mitchell goes down later in the series. And so, they were, I don't want to say blessed by injuries of the other team, but again, you can't blame them for the circumstance of the other team. The Pacers' only job is to survive and advance. And that the series against the Knicks was their opportunity to show everybody, be like, hey, even though these teams were hurt, we're still a really good basketball team, and maybe even if those teams were healthy, we probably beat them. So it's gonna be great, man. It's gonna be great because the Indiana Pacers beat the Knicks in 6, obviously, if you've been paying attention at all. They beat the Knicks in 6, but they did it in fashion. That game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals was absolutely elite. I loved it. Back and forth, back and forth. I remember I was watching it, and I was like, man, the Knicks are running away with it. Next thing you know, I come back upstairs after I was dealing with my daughter. I come upstairs, and I'm like, oh, my gosh. The Pacers are here, and then I literally about 30 seconds after I got upstairs, saw Halliburton hit the shot, hit the choke. He did his whole thing. Ended up being a 2, but they go into overtime and win, and they snag one in the Garden. And they win game 2, I believe. I believe they win game 2. Knicks win game 3, or however it went. Anyways, they beat the Knicks in 6, and I think it just goes to show that the Indiana Pacers are not only legit. Tyrese Halliburton isn't the most overrated player in the league, as his peers say in the NBA. But I think that the Pacers are a legit title threat. I really do. The Thunder are the rightful favorite in this series. The Thunder are the rightful favorite in the series. But, I think the Indiana Pacers, there's a little something to this team here. And I'm not guaranteeing they're going to win the finals. But I think they have a legit shot. It's either they have a legit shot and they win in 6 games, or the Thunder win in 4 or 5. Anyways, I'll proceed. There's a vibe about Indiana right now where I'm getting like flashbacks of 2011, flashbacks of that Dallas Mavericks team that made the run. Another small market team. Would you consider Dallas a small market? I don't think we'd consider Dallas a small market team, but not one of the historically great teams, I shall say. Going against the Heatles of Miami, Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, all those cats in Miami. On paper, the Miami Heat should win that series back in 2011, on paper. But if you remember, or you're old enough, that Dallas Mavericks team, they beat Kobe, I believe. They beat Kevin Durant, I believe. And did they go against the Spurs? I can't remember who else they beat in that playoff run. Dirk was just unbelievable. I don't think I've ever seen a playoff run from a player in that type of context of what Dirk was in, as like the solo superstar of the team just took over the playoffs and do something like that. I haven't seen anything since. Super teams have kind of taken over since then. You know what I mean? But Dirk in the Mavs, it was phenomenal. It's phenomenal to watch. And I sit and I look at this Indiana team, Tyrese, Pascal, Miles Turner, Jalen Smith, Andrew Nembhard, Aaron Nesmith, TJ McConnell. Like, these boys are deep. And I'm like, maybe these guys, maybe these cats are the chosen ones this year. They're going against the juggernaut of the NBA, the best team in the NBA on paper and throughout the playoffs. I don't know. The Pacers, statistically, I think we could argue that they might be the best team in the playoffs. Anyways, on paper, the Oklahoma City Thunder should win this series. They really should. especially when we look at things through the regular season. Oklahoma City Thunder were the best offensive team and the best defensive team statistically through net ratings and all that kind of stuff. The Oklahoma City Thunder made this regular season look like easy work. Easy work. Shea went crazy all season. Rightful MVP. I think Jokic should have got it, but you can't be mad at a guy like Shea getting it. Jokic fatigue's a thing. But Shea had a great year. He's had a couple great years. But, on paper, you look at the Thunder, you got Shea, you got Jalen Williams, you got Chet, you got Hartenstein, you got Caruso, you got the boys over there, Lou Dort, great defensive team. On paper, these cats should win, but you look at the Pacers team again, and you're like, you just can't count these out. I referred to this in a prior video, and I said, you got to bury the Indiana Pacers when you have the chance. If you give them any opportunity to stay in the game, they're either going to come back and beat you and shock you like they did to the Knicks in Game 1, or they're going to make you sweat. I don't think this is going to be an easy out. The Pacers aren't going to be an easy out in any capacity in this series, right? Tyrese Halliburton's had a great playoff run. I believe there was one point in the series against the Knicks, I think through 4 games maybe, he didn't have a single turnover, right? Pascal Siakam, Eastern Conference Finals MVP, Larry Bird Trophy. A little side note to that, I'm glad it's the Larry Bird Trophy. People complain, it should be the LeBron James Trophy. Man, I love LeBron, great basketball player. I've loved watching him growing up, all these kinds of stuff, but you can't have anyone have any kind of shine without somebody mentioning LeBron, whether it's in a funny context or people trolling or whatever it is. It's insane. Like, people are like, it should be the LeBron James Eastern Conference Trophy. He made it to so many finals. Yeah, he did, and that's great. We don't want to talk about how many of those he won. He won a lot of Eastern Conference Finals. Okay, I'll give him that. But what's wrong with the Larry Bird Trophy? Tip your hat to the legend, dude. It's Larry Bird. Larry Bird. Larry Legend. The hick from French Lick. It's a great trophy name. Anyways, they'll probably change it one day. They'll probably make LeBron the logo, whatever. Anyways, we'll proceed. They got Halliburton. They got Pascal. Again, Nembhard, Turner. Oh, I forgot Obi Toppin earlier. They got some boys. And these guys, defensively, they've shown that they have the ability to adjust. They got guys who can switch. They got guys who can guard different positions, multiple positions, right? Rick Carlisle. Oh, Rick Carlisle. Let's not forget about Rick Carlisle. Who was the coach of that 2011 Mavericks team? Who was the coach? It was Rick Carlisle. So that's what I'm saying. The Pacers have this little aura to them right now. I'm like, hey, are we looking at something here? Right? Are these guys going to slay the dragon? Their backs are against the wall. It's like I'm watching the movie 300. Backs against the wall. But they're going to go down with a fight, and you got to bury these cats. Anyways, Rick Carlisle, man, he won the chip in 2011. He was a long-time Mavericks coach, very accomplished NBA champion. He's got these guys ready to rock. They got a high-powered offense. They have, obviously, the ability to adjust on the defensive end, but they also have the superstar in Tyrese Halliburton. Is he the same kind of player as Shea? And one thing that comes to my mind in this series, you got to look at that matchup a little bit, but you got to look at it with a keen eye here. All right, Shea's going to go get his 30-40. He's going to have his big games or whatever, right? But if Tyrese Halliburton gets you 20 and 15 and can kind of cancel out what Shea's production is, not just through scoring, but if Tyrese gets his 12, 13 assists, 20, 25 point and has those kinds of games, it's going to get real interesting, because then it's like, okay, what's Jalen Williams going to do for the Thunder if Shea needs a little backup? Obviously, he's going to need backup, but let's say Shea's having an off game. How's Jalen Williams going to kind of step in? What's Chet going to do? We already know Caruso's going to make his plays. He's going to make his impact not only defensively, but offensively, not just scoring, but facilitating, making all the smart plays, making all the smart adjustments. Caruso's a dog, right? NBA champion too. He's a great vet to have in that locker room, right? But what are those guys going to do, right? If Shea needs some help, is the moment going to be too big? I don't know. Right? This Thunder team, they have this confidence about them where it's like, man, they remind me of the Suns when the Suns went on their run, man. They were confident, having fun. It seemed like they were just like a unit. They're a unit. They love being around each other. It's not just a team. It seems like it's a family there. You know what I mean? But then on the other side of things, okay, Pascal's got to have a big series. Nembhard Nesmith got to have a big series. Obi Toppin's got to chip in 10 to 15. When he's called upon. Now, maybe not every game, but there's going to be a couple games where he's going to have to step up. Same with Miles Turner. It's going to be a fascinating series because obviously, like I've said a couple times in this video already, the Thunder on paper, not only from an individual standpoint, but what they have done to this point, prior to this point in the season, you might be like, they're going to sweep and win in 5, right? Gentleman's sweep. But at the same time, this Pacers team, they're no joke. The Indiana Pacers averaged in these playoffs. In these playoffs, the Indiana Pacers have averaged 117.4 points in this playoff run. The Thunder have averaged 117.1. Right? When we get down to rebounds, Thunder a lot better than the Pacers. Maybe not a lot better, but the Thunder are at least a top 5 team. These playoffs, averaging 44 rebounds a game. But then we get into the assists, right? Indiana Pacers averaging 28 assists a game to the Thunder's 25. Both teams move the ball well. Obviously, I think I know the Pacers rebound the ball well too. They got dogs. They got Miles. They got the boys to rebound the ball. That's all I got to say. All right, but then we look at blocks a game. The Pacers average 5.6 blocks a game, but so do the Thunder. Both top 5 teams in the playoffs. The Thunder average 10.8 steals a game. Again, it just talks to what they do on the defensive end. They got guys all over the place. Lou Dort, Alex Caruso, and then, Shea and Jalen Williams. Chet, those guys are always going to get a couple steals a game. But this is where it gets interesting. In these playoffs, the Indiana Pacers field goal percentage is 49.7%. They're almost shooting 50% in the playoffs. 50% clip. It's absolutely insane. So that goes to show how well they move the ball, their fast-paced tempo, scoring everywhere and anywhere, right? They got a great offense, best offense in the playoffs. I would argue they're the best offense in the playoffs, right? But then the Thunder are still a top 5 team. They average about 46.4% from the field through the playoffs. So if you're seeing a theme here, they're pretty evenly matched when it comes to percentages. Playing different teams, playing different conferences, I get it. Whatever. Be quiet. 3-pointers made. Indiana, number 1. They've hit 214 to Oklahoma City's 201. Guess who's number 2? Oklahoma City, right? 3-point percentage. Indiana shooting 40% behind the arc in these playoffs. I don't see the Thunder on the list. They're probably somewhere down there, but they're shooting under 36%. To the Pacers 40. So how's the Thunder going to adjust and make sure they can defend that 3 ball? And then once that's taken away for the Pacers, what are the Pacers going to do to adjust to that? How are they going to get actions at the rim? What are they going to do? But they have Tyrese Halliburton. They got TJ McConnell. They got guys, even Pascal, they got guys who can facilitate. A lot of the guys on the Pacers, they're not just one-way players. They can play multiple positions. They could do multiple things on the basketball court. They're not just shooters. They can attack the rim. They can facilitate. And then looking at free throw percentage, Indiana's shooting 80%. I don't see the Thunder on the list, so they're shooting under 80%. When we take those things into consideration, it makes me kind of scratch my head a little bit because you're like, oh, okay, maybe this will be a better series than people are giving it credit for, because people are like, hey, I'm not going to watch this. I'm not watching the finals. This is going to be a boring finals. I'm going to go watch hockey. Go watch hockey, dog. Go watch hockey. You're not a fan of basketball. Just because LeBron, Steph, KD, those cats aren't in the finals, it's boring now. Corny NBA fans just, I can't tell because half the people on Twitter who say these things, for one, is it clickbait? For two, are they 12? Right? I think a true basketball fan is going to really enjoy this because we have two small market teams, right? Neither have won an NBA championship. I mean, maybe the Supersonics, the same franchise, right? Different team, I guess you could say. Supersonics, I think they've won one or two back in Seattle, maybe in the Jack Sikma days. I believe he played for Seattle. But they haven't sniffed this. They haven't sniffed this since 2012. And KD, Harden, Russell Westbrook, those guys were there, but they're no longer there. They're long gone. They're long gone. It's a new era, a new generation in OKC. And that trade for Paul George, you just look at it now today and you're like, oh my God. Oklahoma City probably had the fleece of the history of the NBA if you really put it in perspective, especially if they win a ring and Paul George is still in the league and he hasn't sniffed the finals. Been to the Western and Eastern Conference finals, but hasn't sniffed the finals. And then you have the Pacers. The Pacers haven't made the finals since what, 2000, 2001, when Reggie was kind of on the back end of his career. And so it's awesome. I think it's a breath of fresh air being able to get this series and being able to sit back as a basketball fan and be like, wow, like I get to watch two teams that we don't get to see in this position a lot, right? Like, throw back to when my sons played the Bucks. It was like two teams who are never in this position, and the last 10, 15 years have been pretty bad, you know, and they're all on the up and up. It's fun to watch. Even when the Nuggets made it, they played the Heat. The Heat have been in and out. You know, they had their run with LeBron. It was still fun to watch. It's not like I'm watching Steph versus LeBron for the 10th year. You know what I mean? And we get to see stars, Tyrese Halliburton, Shea, Jalen Williams, Pascal, you know, those kind of guys, you know, again, make a name for themselves. Pascal he's an NBA champion already, but what does it mean if Pascal Siakam wins a second, right? What does it mean when Shea wins his first or Halliburton wins his first? It'd be great to see Halliburton win a ring because he was voted the most overrated player in the league. So as a fan, it's just fun to watch. It's a breath of fresh air. And you know, on paper, again, I think everyone's got the Thunder are the rightful favorites. They deserve it. They have the MVP. They're the best team in the league in the regular season. One of the better teams in the playoffs. But there's something about the Pacers where I'm like, I think these guys can do it. I think these guys can do it. I really do. I think the Pacers can do this. And so I want the Pacers to win. I'm going to be open about it. I'm not hating on the Thunder. People are hating on the Thunder because this is what people do in today's era. Right, LeBron's not in it. Steph's not in it. They just start hating on the new up-and-coming guys, right? Something about these Pacers, dude. I'm going to go Pacers in 6, and this is how I think it's going to go. Thunder win at home, game 1. Thunder win at home, game 1. Place is going to be rocking. It's going to be a crazy environment. Like, it's going to be popping in there. They're going to have some momentum. It's going to be wicked in Oklahoma City in game 1. They're going to probably beat the Pacers 10 plus. They might blow the Pacers out. But my thing is, I'm going to say it ahead of time. Whoa. Let's chill out here. That's only one game. Pacers come back game 2 in Oklahoma City. Pacers are going to win game 2 in Oklahoma City. They snag one on the road. Go back to the crib to Indiana. Game 3. They're going to win game 3. They're going to put the Thunders back to the wall, and this is where we're going to see who the real Oklahoma City Thunder are and who the real Indiana Pacers are. Can Oklahoma City come back with their backs against the wall and win a series? Or does Indiana hold out and win this dang thing? But then we get to game 4. I have Oklahoma City winning. So now we're 2-2 going back to OKC. All right, Oklahoma City feeling good, but the Indiana Pacers feeling good. They're in a good position. They're at least going to 6. The series at least going to 6 at this point. Then Indiana's going to snag one in Oklahoma City and just deflate the place. It's going to be pumping in there. It's going to be popping. Indiana snags one. Then they go back to the crib, close it out in Indiana. That's my prediction. I'm gonna go Pacers in 6. Pacers in 6 on paper. And what the media will say, the Thunder should win this series, rightfully so. They got the MVP, they got the best team in the league. There's something about the Indiana Pacers, dude. I think they can do this. I don't think it's a team we count out. I don't think it's a team we count out here. You can't. It might be a blowout. It might. I've been terrible at picking in all playoffs. I've been terrible. Maybe I'm right on this one. I hope I am. I really do. I hope I am. Let's get a chip to Indiana, dude. Get a chip to Indiana. You know, Pat McAfee, Caitlin Clark, all of them going to be going crazy. Indiana's going to be popping. They're going to have the NBA champions. So that's my prediction. But if you're watching this video this far, thank you so much, and I appreciate it. In the comments, let me know what you think. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? Just let me know. People always say, you're tripping. I may be tripping. But at the end of the day, Indiana in 6, baby. Hey, guys, thank you for tuning in. Let me know how I did. I appreciate it. Thank you, Zach. Zach Clow. Best video editor in the game. Book him. Look him up. Boom. We're out. Thank you so much.